We are back with the one and only Anna Kelly. How you doing, Anna?
I'm doing great. So good to be back with you.
Oh, I look forward to these conversations each week. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here for almost 5 years. Pretty amazing.
Yes, it has been fun.
Yeah, I want to talk about something that I know you and I believe, but I also understand what's going on around us, and I fear others don't see it. So I want to see if you agree. Does that feel okay?
Sure.
So I believe there's a push, a momentum for people who have jobs to A, hate their jobs and to jump on the idea of being entrepreneurs, right? Let me burn the boats. Let me quit what I'm doing. I want to start this XYZ business. Gary V, Cody Sanchez, all these other great entrepreneurs. It's clearly great for some people. I just don't think it's right for most people. And more importantly, I think most people are good employees like myself. That's all I ever considered myself was an employee. But the twist that I just realized after talking to Dr. Mike, which was a great interview, is you should see your job is the key to financial freedom and not the prison you're held back by. How does that all feel?
Mm. I think I love the idea of using it as a key because before most people can even invest to thinking about, growing a portfolio in real estate or starting a company, generally you're going to need some money to start out with. And your job that you're hopefully good at, you have some experience in, comes fairly easy, gets you a paycheck every single day that you show up. And so if you're in the right industry, right? If you hate your job, find another job, right? But if
Yeah.
you're in an industry where you're reasonably good at what you do and you don't mind it, it's fairly enjoyable and it pays well for your hours, that is an amazing vehicle to not only meet your needs, but allow you to save up money so that you can invest in things that, are going to make you money. And for some people, like you said, being an entrepreneur is not for everyone. And if you kind
Mhm.
of look at the four quadrants of how people make money, it's either working at a job, um, being in passive investments like a CD or even certain real estate that you have, fully property managed. Then there's a solopreneur, and then there's an entrepreneur of a bigger business that has employees and all kinds of things. And I can tell you from being in all of those categories at some point in time, each one of those becomes a little more stressful. So job and investing is maybe about the same stress level, depending, one takes more time, one has more risk of, making bad investments. But being a solopreneur is really hard. And
Mhm.
running a business and depending on yourself and the economy and the right number of customers, you got to be a good marketer and salesperson and operations person. And if you have, people, a good leader as well, then having a company, you've got to generally be able to manage a lot of different people and run a machine that's good at everything. So with those things comes tremendous stress. And I know people that are employees that are so happy to work, in whatever field they are. They don't want to be a full-time real estate investor. They don't want to run companies. They don't want to run, apartment complexes. And some of them have been sold the lie that
Mhm.
they have to escape the rat race and they're never going to be happy or be free unless they have their own,
Yeah.
their own company. And what I
Exactly.
have found is
Exactly.
that the time freedom for many, depending on how they do it, and the stress is exacerbated along with potentially more money. And so, all that to kind of say, not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur, and a lot of people may choose an employment agreement as a path to become an investor or an entrepreneur if that's what they choose and that's where their skills are. And others may stay in their job forever, love it, and then just make other investments passively and be more of an investor than they are an entrepreneur and be completely happy. And so I'll stop it right there for
Yeah.
your thoughts.
I think there's so much in this. I mean, I don't know what the percentages are, but I would guess somewhere around 15 to 20% of the people are wired to be entrepreneurs. 80% or so aren't. So, I don't know if that's right, but it's probably close. The other thing I think when I think about the 80%, I think most people hate their jobs. And they hate their jobs because they're probably told to hate their jobs. It's the in thing to do, bitch, moan, blah, 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 blah. Which when you wake up every day hating the next 8 hours of your life, that's stressful all by itself. So I really think if people step back and go, you know what? I'm not going to do this forever. This has a set time. It is on me to kind of uh, control my expenses, increase income, live below my means, right? All of that, have discretionary income, become elite at investing. And oh, by the way, there's an escape hatch at the end. And oh, by the way,
Right.
it's a lot less stressful going to a J job than trying to find the next customer, dealing with customer service, this, that, the other thing, and just blowing up. Most successful entrepreneurs that I know, it's their third go around before they make a hit, right?
Yes.
The first two blew up spectacularly. And oh, by the way, you and I both coach people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s who have families.
Right.
It is
Right.
okay to have a job. If you just
Absolutely.
have the plan and have a clock on it and do the right blocking and tackling, you can be wealthy in 10 years.
Yes. Right.
It's about you. So
Yeah.
treat your job as the key. It's that mindset shift should decompress. It should make life more enjoyable if we all did that.
Yeah, for sure. And I lived this wrestling with myself over this for many years. I've told my story, but very briefly, I had a baby and all of a sudden I was like, I don't care about my six-figure income. I don't want that job anymore. I want to be home with that baby. And so that desire and that motherly instinct to be home made me suddenly feel like I hated my job that I really loved up until the point that I held that baby and thought, I want this more than I want that, right? But I stayed in that job and it was hard to go to work every day. I thought, I don't want to be here. I want to be home with my kids. I want the time freedom to not have to
Right.
be at work, right? Most of us
Mhm.
want the time freedom. So then we think about, okay, well, how can we make more money? So I thought, oh, it's entrepreneurship, so we started my husband's chiropractic business and then I thought it's house flipping and we flipped a few houses and we made mistakes in both of those and lost money in both of those before we're like,
Mhm.
okay, let's go at it again. But I kept saying to myself, I can't quit my job. My job is currently my lifeboat, especially while
Mhm.
we have real estate investments and a small business as a solopreneur with a couple of small employees. And all of them were hard, but we made a commitment. You know what? My job is the safety net that's going to allow us to explore being an entrepreneur and being an investor and seeing what we're really good at and getting better and better. And if we make some mistakes, it was okay because I had the job to fall back on. So I
Right.
would not have changed it. Although emotionally, I might have said, I wish I could have quit my job sooner, and I did. The plan took longer because of the great financial crisis, hitting right in the middle of it. But the
Mhm.
plan also gave me the opportunity to be able to continue to invest, paycheck to paycheck, every extra
Yeah.
savings. We'd flip a house, we'd cash out equity, and we'd do it again and again. But I didn't quit my job, Michael, for 10 years. So
I
it was a
remember.
10, what I thought was going to be a 2-year plan turned out to a 10-year plan. But I'm so thankful that I held on to that job. It allowed me the space and the freedom
Oh,
and the
yeah.
safety to grow that wealth. And it did take 10 years, but that it could be sooner for you. It took me 10 years because I had a husband that had his own business. I helped in the practice. I trained his employees. I flipped the houses. I bought the properties. I worked and had 4 kids. And I'm like, I tell people, if I could do it in 10 years, you could probably do it in 5 if you have less of that going.
Yeah.
But look at your job as I love that as a key. It is the foundation that allows you to explore and fail up, make some
Yeah.
mistakes, fail up, and then it kind of snowballs as you gain experience and more and more and more money. And then you can choose whether you leave your job or not. I kind of held on to mine a little bit longer once my kids were all in school.
Mhm.
Then in hindsight, I would have held on to it. But you can make that choice once you replace that income. But for most people, unless you have a spouse that's a high income earner and you can afford to quit your job, that's
Mhm.
a different story. But if you can't afford to do it and aren't a big risk taker, value that job as a tool that's going to help you grow wealthy with your plan. For sure. I agree 100%.
Yeah, and if you treat it right, so A, if you treat it as a key, you say it's a key, you know it's a key, you know there's an end date out there, it should make going to the office every day more enjoyable, right?
Right. Right.
Also, while you're doing that, you should just do the basics that you've shared so many times on the channel. Understand your spending, pay off high credit card debt, do the blocking and tackling, and celebrate the victories, right? Celebrate this building towards that end date. And,
Right.
you did it in 10 years. A guy named Dion, who's on my channel, did it in 8. Millennial Mike's looking to do it in 7. It is absolutely possible, but it starts with the mindset. If you're looking at your job like a prison, and you're living for Saturday and Sunday, I can't help you. It starts
Right.
right there, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And again, if you really hate what you do, find a
Get
different
another
line of
one.
work, right? But don't just go, oh, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to have financial freedom because I'm going to invest for a year, especially right now, when you're in an economy that's starting to contract. So,
Right.
that's another thing is depending on the timing of the economy, sometimes it could be wise and sometimes it could be unwise, to let that job go a little too soon. So, find something that you can go to work 8 to 5 and do reasonably well and have, contentment that you're there. Cut your expenses, save money, invest that money in whatever it is that's your passion
Yeah.
that you think is going to make you that financial freedom over time, and just keep doing it. But yeah, a job is definitely the right path for, I'd say, probably like you, about 80% of the people. And there's probably only about 20% that are real
Yeah.
entrepreneurs,
I've met a
creatives, like
few.
I've got
Yeah.
to do something different, and that have the capability, the grit, the determination, the mindset to fail, 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 fail in a
Mm.
business as they grow it, and to, grind and burn and enjoy the challenge and the risk. So it might be
Mm.
even less than 20% that really should be entrepreneurs and not working, at least in the beginning.
Yeah. Folks, at the end of the day, this channel, One Rental at a Time, brings you 15 millionaires every week. I would guess, just ballpark it, 12 of them were employees, where the other 3, maybe like Omar and Adrian and Ty, they're entrepreneurs. But again, don't sweat the job. It is the key going forward. Anna, closing thoughts, and where can they find you?
Right. No, I agree 100%. Do something you love, save money, build it, into something that you love that can ultimately buy you time freedom later. You can find me here on your channel, social media, Anna Kelly, REI Mom, and for real estate coaching and consulting and deal review at AnnaKellyInvesting.com.
Thank you so much.